The stakes have never been higher. The competition has never been stronger. 35 drivers, 20 rounds. One will be crowned champion. Competition, commitment, excitement. This is Lionheart. You're watching the premier American Open Wheel Series on iRacing. The Lionheart IndyCar Series presented by First Medical Equipment starts now.
We're all gamers, and HyperX is always ready to game. Competition, commitment, excitement. This is Lionheart. The nearby city of St. Louis is known as the gateway to the West. In centuries past, just to will oneself this far east to the edge of civilization took a soul possessed with a special determination. To thrive past this point, to win in the frontier, it took a blind ambition paid for in broken friendships and forgotten love. How then appropriate, at the gateway to a championship, the Global SimRacing Channel brings you, the viewer, beneath the shadow of the Gateway Arch for the 16th round of the Lionheart IndyCar Series Season 8 Championship presented by First Medical Equipment. The Lionheart IndyCar drivers now find themselves in the unforgiving landscape that is the final 5 events on the map. But for Sage Karam, Adam Blocker, and Andrew Kinsella, the stakes are higher because those 3 are separated by a mere 8 points at the top of the Drivers' Championship. Two-time and defending champion Blocker has successfully traversed this path twice before. And from his seat atop his familiar blue and black chuck wagon, he is quick to draw on anyone who makes his trek more difficult. Kinsella has been riding in Blocker's dust for many a season, and now, as he casually gallops through the brush, is ready to tip his hat to his rivals as he tries to ride where the air tastes better. And then there is Kid Karam beneath a black Stetson, high in the saddle atop his Wix-branded steed. For much of the journey, he has been but a speck on the horizon. But the frontier is not as lawless as many had feared, because the marshal from Atlanta slapped the cuffs on Karam, and now the kid is just a tumbleweed's roll ahead of Blocker and Kinsella. Tempers are frayed, patience are short, and some will fall before camp is made under a waving checkered flag. Get along, little doggy! From Worldwide Technology Raceway, it's time for the DMLC Racing Channel Gateway 200, and all the simulated Dallara IR18 action streams your way live as it happens right here on the iRacing Esports Network. Peace, good health, and welcome to the Sim Experience Countdown to Green. Over these 15 minutes, GSRC will bring you all the storylines, all the stats and facts you'll need to appreciate the DMLC Racing Channel Gateway 200. TJ Clark joins yours truly, Bill Subzon, to bring you our Word's Eye View. Sean Ambrose has director duties, armed with cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Now, this is the 6th time Gateway has been on the Lionheart IndyCar calendar. Andrew Kinsella won here last season, but he's not the only active driver with a Gateway win on his resume. Joe Branch and Christopher won here in seasons 5 and 6, respectively. And while Lionhearters are very familiar with Gateway because GSRC is constantly drawing new viewers to the sport of sim racing, for the sake of those unfamiliar with tonight's virtual venue, let's listen to the disembodied voice of Joe Peak as he narrates a look at what is now called Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Worldwide Technology Raceway, a speedway born out of the speedway boom of the 90s. More colloquially known as Gateway, the track sits in Madison, Illinois, just on the other side of the mighty Mississippi, from St. Louis and its famous arch. And like that arch, Gateway has become a passage to the western United States for many series calendars. The facility itself opened in 1967 for drag racing, but the changes started in the mid-90s when the land was raised and the rebuilding began. As part of the rebuilding, a 1.6-mile road course was built inside and using part of the 1.25-mile track we are here for today. Its egg-shaped and differing ends in both radius and banking is a challenge for anyone trying to set up a car here. Even though the banking itself isn't too different, 11 degrees in 1 and 2 and 9 degrees in 3 and 4, the radius of 3 and 4 is much wider, so you carry a lot of speed down that front straightaway, which has led to some drama and classic finishes over the years in iRacing and on the real-life track. IndyCar returned here in 2017 after 14 years away, and in a short amount of time has become a coveted spot on that schedule. The NASCAR trucks also make a regular trip here every single year. ARCA is more off and on, and we'll sometimes get some late model and super late model action here with more regional series. Now, with downtown St. Louis and the Gateway Arch as a backdrop, it's getting time to drop the green flag at Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Hello, another look at another oval. Richie Hearn is on assignment, so joining me tonight, I'm happy to introduce him to you all. DJ Clark. DJ, welcome.
Thanks, Soup. How you doing tonight?
Very good. Glad to have you here. You're going to like it.
I hope I am. Well, we are here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, or Gateway Motorsports Park, it has been called in the past. This is a 1.25-mile oval and tricky turns on both ends. To viewers who are used to a lot of IndyCar action, it may look a little like Motegi. That's because it does. Turns 1 and 2, very sharp, narrow banking, 11 degrees, really, really tricky to get around. In these Indy cars, the traditional fastest line around there is actually the outside, really taking that banking to your advantage. From there, you blast down the backstretch, and these Indy cars, these Dallara IR18s, will be able to take turns 3 and 4 flat out as they go around. But you got to watch out for that air wash, and don't be afraid if you see a couple of guys running a little bit wide and into the wall on the exit of turn 4. And just remember tonight that the countdown to green is brought to you by the SimExperience AccuForce steering system. With the most advanced tuning features on the market, the AccuForce Direct Drive is second only to the real thing. Check out the entire SimExperience line of products. Head on over to simexperience.com.
Nicely done. Let's take a look at the points now. I get to do 2 of them, then we'll let DJ talk about the rookies. We'll start with the Drivers' Championship. This comes your way thanks to, First Medical Equipment. They've been with us for a long time. Great to have them sponsoring this Drivers' Championship. So we alluded to it in the opening. Last round at Atlanta, Sage Karam was assessed a stop-and-go penalty, turning a chance to win into a 25th place finish. That's a difference of some 40 points. Now, Connor Harrington struggled in Georgia as well. His day finally ended with a mistake, missing a chance to capitalize on Karam's misfortune, and dropped him from second in the standings down to 4th. Adam Blocker and Andrew Kinsella did not win, but good finishes for both of them, and they puts them right on the heels now of Karam. Brian Yosek is in 6th. He separates chin and beard, which I believe is anatomically impossible. A win moves Jason Galvin back on the overlay, now up into 15th. Let's go ahead and look at the team championships. These guys come your way thanks to HyperX. Horrible round for 2 of the 3 teams in the hunt for the title. SKM finished in 11th, and Allentech Simulations NHR Esports finished in 12th. That let Adrenaline Motorsports Red jump up from 3rd, now into the lead. A really close battle. As you can see, only 10 points separates those teams. And 10 points in the team championship is basically a dead heat. Best in Atlanta was LPM Cancer. Let me collect myself. I got it right. LPM Cancer Down with 123 points. That's 18 better than the Adrenaline Red team in second. Jason Galvin, he got the win. Chris Lanini was 6th. That's his 3rd top 10 this season, and Big Joe Hassard was 29th. One more championship to look at, not quite as close as the ones we were just looking at. That's the rookie standings.
And these rookie standings are brought to you by the Butt Kicker line of products. As you can see there, Joshua Chin really starting to pull out a pretty comfortable lead in the rookie standings, courtesy of his win at Sonoma this year and a just plethora of second place finishes across the year. Behind him, Nathan Lewis and Adam Frazier, they were able to keep Chin in their sights for a while, but not so much as they sit there back in second and third position. Looking down the order and actually off the list, a couple of new rookies to the series: Mike Rasmus, Matt Taylor, Aaron Morgan, and Chris Fowler. They sit 9th through 12th, respectively, ahead of, one of the more famous rookies we've had to come into the series, a certain Mr. Tony Kanaan.
Let's get Tony Kanaan and Adrian Fernandez and on the chart for the rookie standings. Come on, you guys in the graphic department. Hey, if it's late on a Wednesday night and you're watching sim racing, there's a good chance you're watching the Lionheart guys. The Lionheart Racing Series, powered by HyperX, is the premier open wheel racing league on iRacing. It oversees not one but two great series: the Lionheart Retro Series, presented by our sponsor tonight, DMLC Racing Channel, and the featured series tonight, which is the Lionheart IndyCar Series, presented by First Medical Equipment. Both series honor the memory of the late Dan Weldon. Okay, DJ, we're getting close to the end. Let's talk about those event details.
Thanks, Soup. And these event details come to us courtesy of Minus 273, the premier name in karting gloves. Their industry-leading gloves are superior, lightweight, and durable, made of breathable poly spandex. Whether you're a kart or a sim racer, Minus 273 gives you the control to reach victory lane. For more information on Minus 273's full line of gloves and apparel, visit minus273.biz. And don't forget to also use Minus 273 LHRS15 for 15% off of all offers. Well, we are working here tonight on the 16th round of Season 8. Those three little teardrops, those represent the three drop races that drivers are allowed to take throughout the course of the season. We're racing the Dallara IR18s. These are the most up-to-date Indy cars that are available, and the setups are adjusted fixed. So everybody's racing the same thing, but they're going to be tweaked a little bit for raceability. Now remember, as of earlier this season, there are a couple of in-car adjustments. Those roll bars, the weight jacker, fuel mix, the drivers can make changes as they go along, but very slight. And of course, over the course of the season, we are working on cash and prizes of $10,721.
Ooh, that's a nice little bundle there. I should mention, you heard DJ talk about the three drop lists that represent the three drop races. When we go through the points, those points did reflect the standings with the drop races accounted for. And we talk about it every week, but a lot of drivers this late in the season have already used up a lot of their what I call drop insurance. So it's to the point where if they make a mistake now and they get a bad race, they're going to have to score it. Such was the case that happened to Connor Harrington and Sage Karam last round. We have time to look at the weather. Not really that important on a night race, but let's bring it up anyway and see what we're looking at. There you go, DJ. What do you think? Well, just a little bit.
Well, it's clear skies here at virtual St. Louis, and air temperature is 90 degrees with the track temperature hovering right around that. Wind coming out of the east at about 6 miles an hour. Humidity on a nice, balmy Midwest 91 degrees, or 91% humidity, just how I like to see it. What that's basically going to mean is that we're not going to have as much tire drag as we've seen at some of the other short tracks where you're running in the middle of the day. That said, that humidity is going to really, really push these cars into the track, and we're going to be able to generate a little bit more downforce. But with that high heat, you will get tire wear after about 15 to 20 laps, and don't be surprised if it gets harder and harder to make a pass after about 5 to 10 laps.
You're looking at the Watchman Marcone. Now that's Brian Yazik. Usually some of the oval tracks qualifying not that important because passing is easy. I don't think that's the case here. I don't think you want to be too far back, as it might be hard to get around these guys.
Very much so. And as you see here, we're watching Stephen Larkamp make his way around that turns 3 and 4 complex, taking a higher line there, just trying to maximize momentum. Adam Blocker currently sitting on top of the times to the surprise of just about nobody with the 25.117. Brian Yazik and Jake Wright behind him. Adam Frazier and Mike Rigney bringing up those top 5.
The big news, I would think, would be Sage Karam sitting down there in 17th. He tends to do that sometimes where he doesn't qualify well. He's a great racer, but unfortunately puts him back in what I like to say in amongst it, where bad things can happen. So he's going to have to work really hard Who are we looking at there? Hey, there's Stefan Larkamp, the Pennsylvania driver, veteran of the series.
That bright orange livery making it very easy to see. Just running across the line with a 25.8. That's going to put him well down the order in 22nd. So not what he was going to be looking for. He's going to be hoping to maximize some time here. You see him come down onto that tight line through 3 and 4. You've got to be really careful. If you get even an inch of those tires onto the rumble strips, you will be in the wall as Larkamp crosses the line with a 25.1. That's going to bump him all the way up to 7th spot. So great run for Larkamp.
I'm telling you, something fishy here as there's some big names that are well down the order. Connor Harrington, slowest driver to put in a time. Sage Karam down at the bottom as well. 23 drivers have been able to put in qualifying times. A lot of them have not.
Yeah, not sure what the deal is with that soup of why they haven't as we start to have guys gridding up here. And I do have to agree with you. It's going to be very difficult for these guys to pass. So Sage is really going to have to make some hard things make happen.
Let's go ahead and go to the grid right now. We're going to take it 2 at a time here, DJ. On the pole, Adam Blocker. He's going to be flanked by Brian Yazik, who's in row 2.
Behind them is going to be Jake Wright and Adam Frazier.
The watchman, Mark Cohn, in the 5th spot with Mike Rigney after him.
And you saw Stefan Larkamp put in that 7th place time. Behind him is going to be Jason Galvin in 8th place.
Joshua Chin, our top rookie, is going to be inside the man who sits second in point, Andrew Kinsella.
Lining up on the inside of row 6 is going to be Dustin Wardlow, and the outside of him in 12th place will be Brian Carey.
In the Baker's dozen spot is Big Joe Hassard. He's flanked by Samuel Ryman.
Behind them, Ron Hacker in 15th and Tyler Groff in 16th.
Brian, it's not easy being Greenlee is inside of our point leader, Sage Karam, who sits in 18th.
Making up row 10 is going to be Chris Lanini and Brandon Limkeman there in 20th.
Hidden Blackjack is Brian Beard in the double stuck spot, Chris Stouffer.
Behind them, Connor Harrington, one of the unfortunate casualties from their last race, and the first guy not to set a time there, Mike Rasmus, coming in 24th.
Nathan Lewis and Tony Schowen are next.
Following them, Scotty Johnson and Scott Holmes.
We get to a rookie who fooled the heck out of me last round, but I figured out his pit strategy now. I'm talking about Matt Taylor. He's going to be inside of Bart Workman.
And in row 16, that's going to be another one of those rookies, both rookies actually, Aaron Morgan and Chris Fowler in 31st and 32nd.
And the final 2 drivers in our 34 card field, Jay Brandt and Ken Hacker. You can see that it's nighttime and my eyes are 60 years old, but this is not a well-lit track. I'm sure the drivers are fine, but as far as just kind of a gloomy Edgar Allan Poe type look out there right now.
It is, and I can tell you, Soup, that it does get a little difficult when you're trying to make those passes. You do get a couple of shadows that can throw you off.
Keep your eyes on the road and your hands upon the wheel. Let them roll, baby, roll. Let's go ahead and talk about our onboard cameras. We're going to start with car number 39, the Watchman, Mark Cohn. He's got the DMLC Racing Channel onboard camera. DMLC, your home for the best in sim racing videos online. Car number 42, the winner out of Atlanta last time, Jason Galvin. He's got the butt kicker onboard camera. Bring more realism and immersion to your session. Use promo code LION2020 at thebuttkicker.com. The HyperX onboard camera, that belongs to car number 20, the rookie, Chris Fowler. Whatever you play, however you play, HyperX knows we're all gamers. Use promo code LionHRT15 at hyperxgaming.com. And finally, car number 00, Mike Rigney in the Rigney Building Services. If you need a building service, yes, RSB is never miss us. I blew that little jingle there. We're gonna work on that. I promise to do that again later. Stick around for that jingle. We're all gamers, and HyperX is always ready to game competition, commitment, excitement. This is Lionheart. Adam Blocker leads the stampede down into the first corner. Brian Yazik right behind him. Chucking in behind is Jake Wright. We'll talk a little bit more about Jake Wright. It's good to see him up front. Adam Frazier challenging for that 4th position with Mike Rigney in 5th.
Everybody through that first turn nice and clean. That was a big concern coming into this race. And now you're going to see Brian Yazik starting to try to think about making a move on Adam Blocker. He's going to dive out to the inside, try to take that tricky inside line. He's going to have it, but his blocker going to be able to hold the momentum coming around the outside.
We saw this same exact duo do the same exact thing last round at Atlanta where they swapped positions up front, and they're doing it right now. Jake Wright sitting outside And that's Adam Frazier now tucking into fourth in the dark car on the inside. Watching from fifth position, Mike Rigney.
Rigney just kind of sitting back in that popcorn position, but diving down to the inside of him, that's going to be Jason Galvin trying to make something happen, and then Stefan Larkamp also coming along with it. Everybody running nice and clean, too wide through there. As you see, here we go, flying down the backstretch. That is Galvin getting around them and really pushing ahead.
We'll have one car slow on the inside. We'll check that out in a minute. It's a 12-car train up front. The caboose is Dustin Wardlow, the Candyman. Then there's a bit of a gap, well, if you can call it a gap of a half second, back to Tyler Graff.
Yeah, Tyler Graff really starting to do that. You know, as these tires start to wear out a little bit, you've really got to start judging the point of where you're going to lift off going into that first corner. You cannot take it flat out or you will end up in the wall. And there was a lot of discussion this week about giving a lot of guys preference in front, making sure you get plenty of room, don't want to have anybody run into the back of each other. And thus far, everybody keeping to that really well.
As we ride on board, looking off the tail of Blocker now, we look at the whole screen. You see a pass being made for what would be second position. It looks like that's going to get done. That's dark car is Adam Frazier.
You read my mind, Soup. That's Frazier, but Yazik not having any of it, trying to fight back on the inside. You see him there. That low line, that inside line is faster around the corner. They get a little close for comfort out on the outside wall. They're going to go side by side down the backstretch with, that's Jason Galvin inserting his nose in there now.
As you see that long shot, you can look for the familiar colors of Sage Karam's Wix machine. He has now moved himself up to 13. He's a-coming, working on the back of Dustin Wardlow like now. We'll keep an eye on him, and also Connor Harrington, who started at the back. DJ, it doesn't look like anybody's going to get away from anybody right now.
No, that draft just keeping everybody nice in tow here, but I think in about 10 or 15 laps when the tires start to wear off, you're going to see some serious lifting and these guys will start to separate a little bit. But we may continue to see this sort of pack race going along, at least for the time being, as the top five have started to go one by one. And here comes Andrew Kinsella starting to push his way forward. That's one of the title hunters, really hoping to have a good run here.
Kinsella now on the inside, just lost the spot to the Watchman Mark Cohn. I do a little research for these Lionheart races like I do every week. I go back and watch the last couple that was at this venue. And what I noticed was we may see a lot of pit strategy going on where this may break up into two groups. If the yellow falls right, some drivers will come in, some drivers won't. We'll talk a little bit how far they can go in a minute. Right now, they're all just racing in the tow.
Just absolutely incredible heads-up side-by-side racing. As you see there, that is just Wright and Yazik and Cohn and Hassert, everybody just running side-by-side. Great battles here. Everybody giving some good respect as they dive into turn one. Going to have to see how they shake out, and it looks like Wright's going to be able to push a little bit of an advantage there on the outside.
I know it's exciting as we look at the battle. We got to go back to car number 2, Sage Karam. He's our point leader, and things just tend to happen in this situation really off the pace and backing up. I was really worried. That was Jake Wright in 9th as they go around him. Oh my goodness, I thought they were going to gather up behind him. Sage Karam now up into 8th and a coming as he kind of chops the nose off of Joe Hassert.
Chops the nose off Joe Hassert, almost runs into the back of Ryan Carey there. Sage just driving with a fire in his belly tonight. He's going to take a look down the inside of turn 3. Not going to be enough. Got to keep those left tires off that rumble strip. He's going to get a good draft here and watch for him to make a move into 1.
Right on board. All this going on behind Jason Galvin, who has now moved to the front. You can see it on the tower. Boy, Galvin's got some momentum going on. Coming off a win at Atlanta and now very competitive here.
Well, you know what they say, Soup, success begets success, and that's clearly pulling out for Jason Galvin, but I think Adam Blocker may have something to say about it. He is not letting that black car slip away from him. He's going to just stay in line here as they go through 1. Blocker probably not want to waste too much of his tires, keeping that car above that gray area on the low line, just trying to keep it nice and calm.
Trying to figure out if it's the low line or the high line you want to be in. From what I'm seeing, if you can get a good drive off, you're in pretty good shape up top. Let's drop back. I'm going to take you back to car number. Oh, we look at this. Passes Blocker. Go ahead side by side on the inside. Now watch the momentum from Galvin on the top.
That's going to carry him enough. That's going to put him about just barely a car length in front, and that almost put Blocker into the clutches of Brian Yazik behind him. You can see what happens if you get that inside line wrong. There's just so much more momentum and grip on that outside line, Sue.
Galvin, Blocker, Kinsella, Yazik, these guys are Lionheart regulars. And again, Kinsella on the inside now. You see him losing momentum. That's Mark Cohn. He's really the newest name of the group now as he moves around the outside. But losing momentum is Yazik, so Cohn has nowhere to put the car. And, well, look who's behind Mark Cohn. It is, who else? Sage Karam. He's managed to work his way up to 6th.
And we see Adam Blocker taking another look down that inside on Jason Galvin. He's going to try to make it work here down the back stretch. He once again, though, it looks like that momentum on the outside line as there goes Galvin cutting off the wing there of Blocker, just kind of giving him a little bit of a chop, letting him know that he's not giving it away that easy.
Boy, the racing action is intense as they start to go single file. This will give us an opportunity. Let's go ahead and bring up our race analysis, see how far we can go, how far we need to go, how far we can go as we bring that up.
Well, Soup, it's going to be about a 160-lap race here at Gateway. Max fuel stint, they're saying, is going to be about 42, 43 laps. As we've seen a couple of times, I'm going to extend that out to probably around 44 or 45. If we get yellows, that'll go a lot longer. And then you can see there the disqualification at 13 and a drive-through when you get a few more incident points racked up in the standings.
Karam now up to 4th position. Won't be long till he'll be out in front. The other driver we wanted to watch, where we don't need to go there, Connor Harrington, not being quite as successful getting through the field, taking his time. Galvin, Kinsella, Blocker, Karam.
Really just starting to go, and here comes Blocker down the inside of Kinsella. Those two are teammates, and that's going to open up a little bit of opportunity for Sage here, I think, to maybe get by Blocker as they go through 1 and 2. He's going to have that preferred outside line, and I think Blocker knows it. He's going to get it. Blocker's going to be side by side with Sage, but as they get out of the corner, there it goes, and that's Brian Yazik now pulling up by Adam Blocker.
You might have saw the car get really wide back behind these guys. That was Mark Cohn. He got really close to the wall, kept it off. Want to talk a little bit about Adam Blocker and another one of his longtime rivals. Blocker making his 75th Lionheart career start tonight. Doing the same as Jake Wright, who's just 2 spots behind him in 7th. Both those drivers making their 75th start.
And you saw there on screen, Jason Galvin just giving a little bit of a cutoff move to Andrew Kinsella. And we follow here Chris Stouffer hitting the wall from what we're hearing. We're going to jump back to replay, see what happened to him, Soup.
He runs up on the back of Mark Cohn. I'm not sure if this was Cohn being off the pace or Stouffer. And that's what caused Stouffer. Watch Stouffer closing there on the middle of your screen. That's Cohn out in the front, and they make contact. And then Stouffer gathers it up, but he puts it in the wall by the time it's all said and done.
Yeah, that's for sure going to be a little bit of wing damage. Hopefully, yeah, he's out of the car. I think that's going to be Stouffer's day done and dusted there. It looks like he's got a little bit of suspension damage.
And now Blocker, while we were watching that replay, Blocker has fallen back into 7th. Yazik ahead of him on the outside in 5th. We have a caution out. And I believe it is Matt Taylor, the rookie, with a little help from another rookie, Chris Fowler.
You can see it there. That's Fowler right behind him there, just trying to figure out what's going to happen. They're going to go into turn 1, lift off. They're going to have, and just gets a little bit too much speed coming through the corner, misjudges where they're going to be. That's Taylor just getting run over, and that is going to be what brings out our first caution.
That was Brandon Lincoln on the low side that maybe got into Taylor's eyesight there. All right, well, we went 24 laps. I got a hunch that everybody is coming in. It is Jason Galvin going to lead the parade down. We expect somebody to stay out, get a little screen time.
I'd expect it, Soup, but I'm looking right now and I'm not seeing anybody doing it. One thing to keep in mind here to be careful of is when you pit under yellow, it's very tricky to make sure to get that pit lane entrance right. But just about the entire field coming down pit lane here.
I think the only drivers that did not pit were the guys that were out of the race. I believe every car came in. The pace car is out there singing the Eric Carmen tune right now, all by myself. All right, down into pit lane they go.
Everybody coming in. Sage getting a good jump there out, but Kinsella's going to beat him out, and Galvin. So that's going to be your top three right there, just going 1, 2, 3 out of the box. Galvin, Kinsella, Carey, and Yazik, your top 5 off pit lane.
So the pit stop comes at lap 25. Let's go ahead and take this opportunity to go to car number 00 and maybe... Oh, did Mike Rigney, is he gone? Is he out of the race? Oh, my goodness, I was going to talk... Mike Rigney got caught in that early incident there. I was going to go ahead and put the onboard camera on him there and give him a better jingle. So before we lose another driver, let's go ahead and talk about our spotlighted driver here today. That's going to be Tyler Groff. There, you see him. Now, Tyler Scott making his 62nd start tonight. Doesn't have a win yet, doesn't have a pole. He's got a couple, well, 4 top 5s. What I'd like to do when it comes to top 10s, I'd like to cut your race starts in half and see if you can match that. He's only got 20, so he's about 10 short of the Mendoza line for Soup. First start was Watkins Glen back in season 6. Best finish. Boy, he did it at Belle Isle in second place. Sits 22nd in the points right now. But here's the thing about Tyler Graff you got to know. There is no doubt that he is a better road course driver than an oval driver. 4 of his top 5 finishes this season have been on twisty tracks. So, Tyler, they picked the wrong kind of track to put the spotlight on you, man.
And Tyler, also worth mentioning, a world-class sim racing designer. A lot of the liveries out here in Lionheart are designed by Tyler. His work is just absolutely incredible to take a look at. Really pretty stuff.
They are indeed. Working lap number 26. I think the lights will come off the pace car this time around. This track has a reputation for fairly short yellow flags, so the commentators don't have to fill too much. Give me a little time to talk about, again, Jake Wright and Adam Blocker. I think it's really interesting. Those guys both making their 75th start tonight. That's coincidental enough. But it gets even more strange. Blocker leads all drivers in wins with 21. Who's in second? Jake Wright with 20. So they are both right there. It's kind of like, if you're a football fan, it's kind of like Tom Brady and Breeze as they go for the all-time career touchdown record, as they each one, they're like one apart from each other every race, and they're about 9,000 years old. So I think that record will go to whoever survives the longest. Lights are off.
Well, Soup, I think the guy to watch in this restart is really going to be Sage Karam. He's been able to charge up 15 spots thus far, and he's going to be hungry to get out in front of Kinsella and Galvin. So that black and yellow Wix Filters car, that's the one to be watching here at this restart.
Kinsella has made a nice run. I should mention that you can look in 12th position. Connor Harrington up 10 spots. Don't forget about him. He had a horrible qualifying time, starting well at the back. All right, the beautiful Medina Mendez behind the wheel of the pace car. She pulls it in for the second time this evening, turning control over to the Bakersfield boy. Former morning host of Wakey Wakey Bakersfield, it's Jason Galvin leading the Stampede down into the first corner. Kinsella, Karam, Brian Carey sneaking up into fourth with Brian Yazik behind him.
That was a really well-timed restart there from Galvin. You see him there snaking down the backstretch, trying to break a little bit of the draft to Kinsella, but that's going to pull Karam up behind him. And now Karam's going to just tuck under the gearbox. He's got to decide which one here and try to make a move going into one.
Don't think there's enough room for Karam to make it 3 wide. He tries to pick a line like he's trying to choose the right teller at the bank. He's going to wait. He's going to stay on the outside right now. Oh, no, I believe that Jason Galvin has a big, confusing deposit. I think the faster line is going to do to Andy Kinsella, who has a quick withdrawal. And yes, sure enough, Kinsella out on the front. And now here comes Karam to the inside. And I think he's going to get to the teller first.
He might, but Kinsella's not going away without a fight here as he's going to keep that momentum going up on the high line. They're going to be side by side halfway down the stretch. Galvin thinking about diving out to the inside, thinks better of it. And now Karam's going to have the preferred inside line through 3 and 4, but they're going to still be relatively side by side. No, Karam's going to block him off there.
The car that was wobbling behind him, that's the familiar colors. Back there, you know, I'm wrong. I thought it was going to be Chin. It was not. That was Brian Carey who gave me a scare.
It was, but none of these top 3 giving up at all. Is now Sage shuffling back to 3rd with Kinsella and Galvin ahead of him. Sage getting a great run off of 4 there. He's going to challenge Galvin for 3rd, get the nose ahead of him, and he's not done. He's going for Kinsella.
And we got a yellow, and it's Matt Taylor again. He had some damage to the rear wing from the early incident. I'm not sure if that got fixed. And he loops it around and he puts it in the wall. Gives us an opportunity to look at one of the prettier cars out there. Not quite sure what color we're looking at there, but there you go. I'm getting the news. It's a mint green, so there you go. Not only pretty, but also refreshing. So, a yellow flag here with lap 33. Now, DJ, we talked about yellow flags. Sometimes there's a lot, but for the most part, it's not too bad here, huh?
No, you know, Soup, we've been here a whole bunch of times in the past, seasons 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Seasons 2 through 6, we only had 4 cautions in every one of those races, but season 7 decided to throw a little change at us. Then they had 7 cautions. So hopefully we're going to keep it down around that 4 level and keep these guys going green as long as possible.
We'll wait to see if anybody comes in. Then I want to talk about one of our great sponsors here that's on our onboard cameras tonight. I've been waiting to talk about them for several races and haven't had the opportunity. I imagine some of the guys at the back are going to top up. None of the guys up front are going to want to sacrifice track position. Let's see who's first to come in and listen to Soup. How about Scotty Johnson? Oh, that's Tony Showen coming in.
Yeah, it looks like Showen, Ryman, I think I see Greenlee, Lanini, Lemkeman, bunch of the guys in the back there, Soup. It's a good move from them. You've got nothing to lose if you're on the back. Puts you on a little bit of an alternate strategy, and if we get into a fuel conservation race, this is going to put them in the cat's bird seat.
Okay, let's go ahead and go on board with car number 42. This is Jason Galvin in the butt kicker onboard camera. I want to talk about butt kicker. You know, here's what was up. I was out mowing my lawn yesterday. And so I'm out there mowing, and my crazy neighbor Art, he says, Soup, come on over and see what I just got. So I head on over, and he shows me his new butt kicker. And he says, Soup, this butt kicker product really does add instant immersion to my games. Unlike a subwoofer that moves air and loses accuracy and force, butt kicker products move actual mass, and I feel haptically immersed. Then he showed me, and I could feel the low end without Art having to make the room loud. Then Art turned his subwoofer all the way down, and I could still feel all the bass. Art then claimed that it also dissolved his kidney stones. Now, I don't know about that, but what I can say is that butt kicker products add that missing driver-to-car connection, bringing you more realism and immersion to your sessions. For more information, visit thebuttkicker.com, and don't forget to use this promo code LION2020 for 20% off your order. And I should say that the views and opinions just expressed are those of the commentator and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of GSRC or Butt Kicker. That should keep me working these broadcasts at least till the end of the season. DJ, I know you got your first your second lead job coming up. Congratulations on that. Word of advice: don't ad-lib the sponsor plugs. They don't appreciate it.
Okay, don't ad-lib sponsor. All right, cool, got it.
Rule 17 of the GSRC's commentator handbook. You'll find it there. All right, the lights are still on, so they'll be coming off this time. So what does this mean? Kinsella, Karam, Galvin, and Yazik out in front.
Yeah, and those three soup really have just been the absolute class of the field this race. Just kind of trading back and forth. As we've seen time and time again, though, it looks like that outside line is the way to go. The only way you can really get that inside to work is if you're able to get just enough of a turn around the apex of one that you can drive off the corner and get in front of the car that you're trying to pass before you exit the corner. It's almost like throwing a slide job in a dirt car. That's really the only way to make that low line work on a pass.
But what has happened? Some names to keep an eye on, and all you little soldiers in Soup's clipboard army. Why don't you write down names like Tony Schowen, Brian Greenlee, Chris Lanini, Brandon Limkeman, Bart Workman? They don't have the pace really to race up front. I don't think they will get upset with me for saying that. Certainly they're not showing it tonight. But they do have a 10-lap advantage as far as fuel goes. So there's going to be a small little interval, DJ, where they'll be able to stay out and probably work their way to the front. And if the yellow flags fall just right, it could work out for him.
It very well could, and it's going to be interesting to see here as we get ready to get back to green at Gateway.
Karam with the jump. I'm sorry, Kinsella with the jump. Karam right behind him. Boy, Karam was on him tighter than a fat man in a scuba suit, but he got that worked out. Now they go down into the first corner. Galvin chasing. Yazik, Carey in fifth. A nice run from Brian Carey.
Really good run from Brian Carey as the rest of the field gets pretty well through turn one, nice and easy. We're seeing on these restarts everybody really spacing out well as there goes Karam to the lead, making a dive down the inside of Kinsella. Kinsella now coming back in the draft. He's going to try to fight and go to the inside coming into turn one.
And he's going to hold off. Now let's see what type of momentum Karam gets. The drive off of two is good. He's a car length back. He's a half car length back. Does he force the issue? There he goes. He tucks down going into three. He's on the inside. He'll have the momentum. And he might bring along Jason Galvin as well.
He does indeed. And Galvin, they're able to pull off the mood slot in front of Kinsella. And now Galvin going to try to make a move here on Karam coming into one. That's going to let Kinsella maybe get a little bit of momentum. If Galvin's not careful, I think Kinsella can maybe try to make this work. They're pretty much in a diamond coming down, or a triangle coming down the back stretch.
Racing in position. Let's see. Boy, they are so close. Again, Karam never scared to get close to another driver. Galvin will get credit with leading the lap. He
will indeed. As Sage there forced to back off just a little bit coming out of that corner. That may open up the door for Kinsella.
One thing you do not want to do when you have Sage Karam behind you is lift early. Boy, they are really in a line. And here goes Galvin now to the inside. We're going to keep our attention focused up here because my spider senses are tingling.
And Soup, if you look to the back of that train, that Dodger blue car, Adam Blocker coming back into the picture, able to hook up behind Brian Yazik, who now has officially joined this four-way scrum for the front. That's him in the car right behind Kinsella. They are all trying for the lead here.
I think Blocker just wants to stay in shouting distance of the lead group. I don't think he wants to get up there and mix it up. In fact, he probably wants to stay far enough back that he can make a reaction if things happen in front of him. Another driver who's really, really conservative, and I don't mean to say that negatively, is Andrew Kinsella. He just, for the most part, doesn't make a mistake. And I'm surprised that he's working so hard right now. And Brian Yazik in there, and, well, here comes Blockers. I said he wouldn't want to be part of it. Proving me wrong.
Blocker trying that inside low line, but Kinsella going to get a better run back down the backstretch. And you're right about Kinsella. He's normally sort of the Iceman of the Lionheart IndyCar Series, just calm, cool, and collected, putting in those good results. And I think for Kinsella, he knows he's in the championship hunt here, and he just really has something to prove and can almost taste that hardware at the end of the season.
We talk a lot about the rookies, but in 8th position, car number 17, he's on the outside in that beautiful black machine. That is Adam Frazier. He is right behind Big Joe Hazard. Hazard now dives to the inside, going underneath Brian Carey. Move Hazard up into 6th for now.
It's really incredible, Soup. Watching this entire field, nobody's position is safe. As one lap, you can make a pass and just get absolutely swamped the next. As Sage Karam now doing a little bit of an over-under in front there. You can see on your screen, whoo-wee! That was Joe Hassert just getting a little bit squirrely as here comes Sage to the outside, Galvin diving down to the inside, and Kinsella coming back into view as they go into a... Whoa! Oh, they are getting close here coming out of 4.
Oh, well said. Just keep that sound effect handy. Director, if you can go back and just replay what DJ just said, I think we can do it for the entire race. Boy, they continue to race so close now. That is Karam on the inside, Galvin on the top side. Oh, and we got Wardlow. You know, Frazier gets into it with Chin. There's no caution. Frazier and Wardlow and Chin pirouette off into the grass. No yellow flag.
No, none at all, but we're going to keep going here as back up front. This battle is just absolutely tooth and nails. Galvin and Karam side by side, really, really going at it. And Kinsella now trying to maybe make a look on the inside now that Galvin's been forced wide. And here comes Adam Blocker with a good run off of 4.
Correct myself, I said Joshua Chin. He was involved in the incident, but he continues to race in 7th. He is safe.
Big check up there from Andrew Kinsella. That's going to cost him a spot to Brian Yazik, and I think his teammate, by what's all said and done, Adam Blocker's also going to get a spot on him. Not sure why he checked up, but big loss of speed there from Kinsella. That's going to cost him.
The 2 cars that were involved in the incident that we'll take a look at later, it did not bring out the yellow. Adam Frazier and the Candyman Dustin Wardlow. Their night is over.
Bit of a heartbreak there for both of those guys. They were putting in a really good top 10 run. But back at the front, it looks like Andrew Kinsella has been able to sort of regain his composure. He's now fighting back on Brian Yazik there, trying to find something, anything. Yazik being smart, he's going to hold that outside line, forcing Kinsella down low. Kinsella going to try to do a little slide job here, get up. He's not going to get it done, and that's going to allow it. Whew, you can see Galvin and Karam weaving down that backstretch.
Calvin is determined to protect the inside, covering the inside like wall-to-wall carpet, but that tight entrance means he fades off. He can't keep the car down low, and as they come down the main straight, the car drifts up high, and that opens the door for Karam, and now he's back in front.
And Karam able to successfully execute that little slide job like we've been talking about, and that forces Galvin to back off just ever so slightly, puts him about a 1/10 of a second behind. He's going to line him back up here and see what he can do going into turn 1, as now Yazik has held on firmly to P3, but as I say it, Kinsella's all over his gearbox.
A hard charger back in 5th position, Nathan Lewis, riding right behind Kinsella. Started in 25th, has made up 20, and now Lewis goes to the inside of Kinsella, but he has to back off. He's going to lose momentum. That means Blocker in the blue machine will have a run on the outside. Lewis gets it wound back up.
Really great drive there from Lewis, as he was able to get that rewound and nice and tight. As you can look there, everybody's starting to fan out, and that's Kinsella able to make the move back around Brian Yazik, going to put Yazik back down to 3rd, and here comes Lewis to the outside of Yazik.
Remember, there are a group of drivers who we expect to be able to go about 8 laps farther than the guys up front.
There are indeed, and the first of those is going to be Chris Lanini. That's him sitting back in 21st position. So Lanini, the one to watch out of those early pit stoppers, as this action in front looks like it has calmed down, at least for the moment. And by calm down, I mean they are less than a half a second apart from each other and not feverishly trying to pass right now.
DJ, help me out here. What do you think is the line? I see sometimes they protect the outside, sometimes the inside. I think the pass is the inside line, right?
The pass is the inside line, but you've got to get it just right, and it's incredibly difficult when you're running out of tires, especially when we're getting this far into a stint. These lead guys having stopped all the way back on lap 24. Early in the race, you can really get the car to bite down on that corner, as here you see Galvin making a move on Karam. But early in the runs, you can get that corner to bite, you can get it to turn. As your tires start to wear off a little bit, it's going to be harder and harder. You're going to have more propensity to push up the track, up into the wall on the exit of 2.
from what I'm seeing, the problem is when you are defensive and you protect that inside line going into 1 and 3, it hurts your corner exit and it leaves the door open for like the slide job coming out. And so right now, there we have Karam out in front. This is some great racing.
It really is. There's just, ooh, they are Noah's Ark style here, 2x2 coming through the corner with Karam and Galvin and Kinsella and Lewis. Nothing separating them as we stay here, as that Galvin's been able to get it by Karam. Now that's everybody in a nice little tidy line there. Karam diving in low and Kinsella trying to make a move happen on the outside of 3 and 4.
That's another thing that happens. If you try to make a pass on the inside and it doesn't work, you lose momentum, and you end up not only not finishing the pass you were attempting for, but you lose the position to the guy behind you. So that's what happened to Karam right now as Kinsella moves up into second. And now here comes an attack on the inside from a rookie, Nathan Lewis. I told you to watch out. He started in 25th, looking to get to a podium spot right now. He's going to have to back off a little bit. And I'm going to keep talking because I want to mention about car number 44. He started way in the back. Connor Harrington, he's up to 7th.
Harrington putting a really great drive up 16 spots from that position. Harrington's been having a kind of a disappointing and frustrating string of races there, almost getting up into the wall there, as you can see. So really good to see him all the way up into 7th here.
And that, was going on back there, but it was also Kinsella almost got into Galvin. Kinsella loses a little momentum, and here comes Karam up front.
Karam making a charge, but that's one of the first times we've seen a real back off that hasn't cost at least 2 positions. Kinsella able to hold on to 3rd, but of course, as I say that, Nathan Lewis getting a great run off the line. He's going to have the inside line for 3 and 4.
Trying to keep the inside momentum going, but Karam gets a rolling around the outside. He'll slot into 3rd. Boy, I am really surprised to see such aggressive racing going on, especially from drivers who cannot afford a bad result.
I agree with you, Sue, but I think part of what's doing it is that, remember, the top 3 in the championship right now are running 1, 3, and 5, so they have to be up here fighting for it because there is so little separating these top 3 drivers that they just feel like they've got to go for broke.
And honestly, the guy back there rooting on the mayhem in front is Connor Harrington in 7th. He's saying, you go for it, guys. He would love to see Karam and Kinsella and Blocker all get together and he can get some of those points back. He sits in 4th, about 50 points out of the lead.
It would be, and Harrington's certainly making a case here for why he deserves that 4th place position as he continues to charge through the field. You see him there lining up behind the gearbox of Brian Carey, just sticking out a little bit on the higher side there of Carey. That's not really an overtaking maneuver. He's just trying to get a little bit clean air on that wing, make the car a little bit more drivable. As we continue to go through here, you can see Blocker and Lewis there going side by side.
Oh my goodness. I'm glad we have first medical equipment because I may need to get on the phone with them, see if they can get me some oxygen. This is taking my breath away. Oh, the racing is so close, and now Lewis has worked his way up into 4th.
He has worked his way up to 4th, but he's got a significant gap up to the leaders there. I'd say probably 5 or 6 car lengths as Galvin now looks like he's going to pop out to the inside of Karam, try to make another move for the lead here. He may be able to get that to work. Whoa, and there goes Galvin around and he's into Kinsella.
He collects Connor Harrington as he tries to go by on the outside. You can only dance the tango so long in a china shop before you break some porcelain. Clean up on aisle 5.
Oh my goodness, you can watch the replay here from the helicopter shot. That's Galvin coming down the inside of Sage, taking that inside line. He's going to try to push the car up, and he just kind of runs into the side of Sage there. Andrew Kinsella, absolutely nowhere to go. Same with Connor Harrington. Those 2 cars just passengers in that wreck.
We'll watch on board with Havoc Catch. A great job from Nathan Lewis to blow up and not get into Karam.
Just heartbreak there for Andrew Kinsella, who hasn't really put a wheel wrong this entire year. He is still going. You saw him there, so he's hoping he can come back around. Maybe it's not too terminal. He can keep some laps going. The one thing that I will say is this is going to be prime for pit stops, is all the leaders now coming down the pit lane. We're going to have to see if anybody can make up some spaces here.
I don't know how to put this, but what happened wasn't all that surprising with the way they were racing. It was just a matter of time.
No, I agree with you, Soup. You run that hard, that close for that long, there's gonna be a mistake, and it's just, you don't want to see it, but you know it's an inevitability. Is that Sage Karam very long in the pits there, unless I'm mistaken? Yeah, he's got a little bit of damage to the car, so that's going to bump him back down the field. As Looky, who is out in front, ladies and gentlemen, that is Adam Blocker in the lead.
He was sitting back. It all happened in front of him. He was able to get around. Nathan Lewis was really in it. He's able to come out in second. Now, there was contact that happened to Karam's car, so that's probably why it took so long. A little bit of contact.
Yeah, and Karam looks like he was only stationary for about 5 seconds longer than anybody else, so I'd imagine that's just a minor bit of front wing damage, front wing repair that they had to do on the car. So that is good for Karam there. It's going to keep him in contention in this race, I think.
We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the race that Brian Carey is having. He's in 12th, racing up in 3rd right now. We haven't talked much about Joe Hassert. He's up in 5th. And then I look down into finishing out the top 10. Brian Beard up 11 spots in 10th.
And I was just going to say, lining that up, one of the drivers we focused on earlier, Jake Wright, who just has kind of been a little bit off the pace and running in the mid-pack. He's lining up 10th. He is down 7 from where he originally started in P3.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell whether that's from pace or just wisdom. You know, I don't want to be involved in that. Although it's not like it's all that much tamer back in 12th as it is up front.
No, it's pretty much constant action everywhere, Soup, and we'll have to see what shakes out there. Now, the other thing to keep in mind out of this round of pit stops, this has ostensibly negated everybody who came in on that last stop. Everybody, the entire field came in here on lap 66, so nobody on alternate strategies as of right now.
Currently 26 drivers on the lead lap, but I think that's going to be one less, as I think Scott Holmes had to call it a night. So I'm looking at 25. See if Ron Hacker, no, Ron's not going to be able to come out. Did Andrew Kinsella actually get the car out there? No, I still see him in pit lane.
Yeah, both he and Galvin, it looks like that's terminal for the both of them. They're sitting in pit lane, as well as Connor Harrington, I believe.
So 22 cars on the lead lap. Tony Schowen being the last there. Simon Ryman, the first car, 1 lap down. So I haven't been keeping track. Is this caution number 3? I believe we're looking at 3. Maybe one didn't fly when we had the 2 cars go off.
Yeah, you're right, Soup, because we had the first one where everybody came in, and then the second one on the alternate pit cycle, and now this. So we're a little premature for this if we're going to make it on the 4 cautions like we've been seeing, but we'll have to see how the rest of the race shakes out.
Don't think we're going to be setting any records. At least, hopefully not for fewest cautions. Hopefully not for most cautions. All right, Adam Blocker out there. You know, I mentioned it as the pace car pulls in. We'll talk about it in a minute. Blocker under control. He's going to be working lap number 70 when we get going. Nathan Lewis behind him. And this is a very, very tame restart.
It's tame. The only guy really making a move, to the surprise of I think no one, is Sage Karam, who tried to make a move on Mark Cohn, didn't get it to stick. Is out front Brian Carey is. We're under yellow again.
Brian is not easy being Greenlee, pirouetting down the back straight. Oh, the beautiful car of Brandon Limkeman got into him. Man, that Topper's rum, that beautiful like magenta machine gets into Greenlee. Sends you Greenlee for a 720 × 4.
He did. Looks like Limkeman came off the wall. Not sure if there was contact there, if he just kind of spooked himself, just came right down into Greenlee. Greenlee had nowhere to go. You can watch it here on the helicopter. We'll be able to see if that contact existed or not.
Yeah, it was Limkeman that got in the wall, then came across. If there is bad luck to be found, Brian Greenlee will be there.
He will, and he was saying before the race just how he wasn't really comfortable with this set and how he wasn't getting it to his liking. So Greenlee's race there done early, a little bit heartbreaking, as it looked like he was starting to be able to hold his own a little bit more than he was suspecting going into it.
He was on the lead lap, so he lose a few more of those and put another chicken scratch by the caution list. What's our record? We're trying not to beat 7?
Yeah, that's right. 7 cautions is the maximum set last year.
Well, because of this, I called Domino's to see how late they deliver, so I'm not worried. They deliver till midnight, so out on the West Coast, I'm good. We should be able to get it in before Domino's closes up shop. Okay. Blocker, Lewis, Carey, Chin, and Joe Hassard, your front 5. Sage Karam in 8th position. Now, DJ, I tried to keep one eye on the leaders, one eye on Karam, just to see if the car was feeling good. He was trying his best, but he didn't go anywhere. We'll wait to see. The jury's still out on how that car's racing.
I think you're right, Soup. I was keeping my eye on him as well. He tried an inside move on Mark Cohn. It looked like he had a little bit wheel spin, maybe just couldn't get the car completely down coming off of the corner through 1 and 2, and Cohn was able to keep that position ahead of him. But that feistiness that we've come to expect from Karam certainly still there the entire time, as he was really the only guy in this front pack trying to make a move on that opening restart.
So you want to talk big picture, you've lost one of your guys you're racing with, and that is Andrew Kinsella. But we talked about Kinsella's consistency. When it comes to drop insurance, I think he's got a little more, he's been paying his premiums. I think he's got a little more coming his way, that maybe this one isn't going to hurt him so much. Andrew's sitting right now in 25th spot. He might have more in the bank. That's not the case for Karam, who is dead out of insurance.
This is the exact point I was about to make, Soup, is I'd have to do the math there on Kinsella, but I think you're right. Karam, the one that really needs it. Blocker, too, if you remember, missed a couple of races early in the season, so he's another one that needs to keep getting these big results here. Kinsella, really the only one that theoretically has some wiggle room in terms of drops.
Yeah, the big news for Blocker, if you're not aware of this, and I'll do a little bit of assumption, so I could be wrong, but the news was early on that he wasn't going to be able to race the full season. He just didn't think he got a new job, and he didn't think that was going to work out for him. But I think I'm going to assume, because of COVID-related work issues, I believe Ilmore's loss is our gain, as he's been putting in a full campaign, looking to go three-peat as far as championships.
He will be, but Sage certainly not letting him get away too easy on that, as we're getting ready to go back to green. Everything pretty much in the exact same order it was when we last restarted, so hopefully we'll be able to get some good, clean running here once the green flag flies once again.
You have a tale of two cities here. You have Adam Blocker, who is really big picture racing right now. He needs a good finish more than he needs a win. And then right behind him, you have Nathan Lewis, who would love to get a victory, racing just for, well, to get a little bit of show what he can do, a little momentum going into next season. Same with Brian Carey. Lewis and Carey having a couple great races. Don't forget, we haven't talked much about him, the beautiful purple machine of Joshua Chin back there. All right, let's go racing again as we're working lap number 75. It's Adam Blocker going into the first corner. Let's keep it clean, boys.
Keep it nice and clean as another great jump there from Adam Blocker. You can see in the back of your shot, Sage Karam able to get that move done. And here comes in second, Brian Carey making a big dive down the inside of Nathan Lewis. Lewis taking a super wide angle into 3 and 4, and that looks like it's going to open him up to maybe an opportunity from Chin here if he's not careful.
This might be an opportunity for Adam Blocker to show what he can do. He's got himself a half second back to Carey. DJ, what do you think as far as breaking the draft? Probably getting real close for Blocker to get far enough away, huh?
Yeah, it's about a second or a second and a half is really where that draft starts to go away.
Oh, that was Joshua Chin who got really loose out of 4. My goodness. He's
I'll
really
be honest
amazed
with you.
if he had a catch.
Yeah, exactly what I was going to say. I don't know how he held on to that, but what it is going to do is it's going to put him right into the clutches of the hard charger behind him of Sage Karam. Sage now setting his eyes directly on Joshua Chin, really going to be one to move that car forward. As Blocker not able to completely slip away from Carey up front. He's only got about 3 car lengths of advantage on Carey and Lewis, so this is by no means a walkaway for Adam Blocker here.
Yeah, I apologize to the friends and family of Brian Carey and Nathan Lewis. I don't mean to undersell it. You guys are quick. You guys could raise up here. You have ran down the defending and 2-time champion, and now going to the inside with a great head of steam. Nathan Lewis, he's got 1. I don't think he's going to be able to get the second one, and now he's going to lose all of his momentum. Watch for the outside line to work.
Yep, there it is. Brian Carey able to come back by, and Joe Hassert now getting drawn into that in that really nice yellow and purple and white car there. So this starting to expand like we saw in that previous green flag run where there's just a pack up in front and they're going to be going at it tooth and nail. How you could put a paper between Lewis and Carey there.
Oh, way too close, gentlemen. And again, Carey loses momentum on the outside, on the inside. Lewis gets the run on the outside. Look at the run out of 2. He comes up from behind blocking, but thinks better of it.
And behind them, that's Sage Karam down to the inside of Joshua Chin. He's going to move himself up into 6th place, so setting his sights on championship glory here, trying to claw back what he can as Joe Hassert now thinking about the inside of Brian Carey and Nathan Lewis to the lead.
The rookie out in front for now. I'm not sure he's going to lead across the line. Yes, as Blocker waits going into 3. All right, the verdict is in on Sage Karam. The car is fine.
The car is fine, and so it is his right foot as he's just put Brian Yazik in his crosshairs, diving to the inside of him, and it looks like he's going to make that move stick as there's Lewis in front. Everybody coming through. The action is right back here at Gateway. It's a whole hornet's nest up in front.
There is a former champion lurking back in 7th. It is Jake Wright. He qualified on the inside of the 2nd row. He's just kind of biding his time. Look for him now. He's on the inside lane. 2nd car back, and he's going to lose the spot to Chin, the purple car on the outside. That's Joe Hassert who got loose in front of him.
Yeah, Hassert got loose coming out of 2. Looks like he had to check up a little bit. That'll put Chin up ahead of him. Is on the outside. Blocker now just taking that little bit of a higher line around Lewis, trying to find something, and here he's going to dive down to the inside, trying to make that line work into 1.
Gets it done, but he can't finish the job. Again, the outside with momentum. Be interesting to see if you can actually go to the inside, try to be first to the line. You may not be leading going into corner number 1, but you might be first across the line if you get to the inside out of 4.
It may not be a bad idea, Stu, because we've just crossed over halfway through this race. That's got to be something everybody's going to think about as close as they are, is maybe if you come in 5 laps, where you want to be leading, as Blocker and Lewis starting to pull a bit of a gap here back to Carey. That's about 3 or 4 car lengths, closest, farthest we've seen it. But Sage Karam there sitting in 4th, trying to line up on Brian Carey. And of course, as soon as I say that, Carey able to close the gap up to Blocker in front of him.
20 cars on the lead lap. We here at GSRC, we pride ourselves of trying to get everybody some screen time. I'll try to get back to the back half of the guys on the lead lap in a minute. But right now, the action up front, you're just, if we go away from it, we're going to miss something really important.
We are, Soup, as this is just absolute class racing at the front. Really good stuff. There you see Blocker sticking behind Lewis again, not wanting to go too hard. Had to back off a little bit, took a little bit of a lower line. I think that's going to give Carey a little bit of an advantage there, as that's Chin taking down the inside of, I believe, that's Chin on the inside of Sage Karam, putting Sage back to 5th. Great move from Chin there.
The purple car, but again, the outside line has the momentum, so he loses that spot. And now going around the top, that's Joe Hazard. Watch Chin try to keep the car down low. Boy, he's going to lose a ton of speed now. And with that horrible exit out of 2, that opens the door for Brian Yazik. Chin says, look, if you want to try to go down low, go for it. There's no way to get any speed coming off the corner. Yazik says, I think you're right. I'll just wait right here. Chin settles into 6th.
Really good defensive driving there from Chin, as that little bit of back off is going to put Yazik into the clutches of former champion Jake Wright. Wright not going to press his advantage, but just let Yazik know he's there, taking a look down on that inside. Up front, everybody keeping it nice and orderly, but Joe Hassert starting to maybe think about making a move on Sage Karam here.
Lewis comes across the line, working lap number 90. Oh, I may jinx it, but maybe will we see some green flag stops? We're on lap number 23 of this stint.
About 20 more to go on this tank, 22 more to go on this tank if we're right. And I got to tell you, Stu, making a green flag stop here at Gateway is so tricky on this pit in, pit out. Flat, tight corners coming through it, very difficult, as there you see Blocker trying to find something on Lewis. I don't know if this is Blocker just being a little content to stay back, maybe save a little bit of fuel, or if he just can't find the pace around Nathan Lewis here.
Okay, as things settle down, I'm going to knock on wood about that. Let's look back at 12th position right now. This is car number 21, Ron Hacker, in a battle. He's up there with Stefan Larkamp. Boy, that is a pretty looking car. I hate to do colors. That car has to be orange from Larkamp there. And I knew it. And, oh, Mike Razaman. A little bit of a hit check from Brandon Lindemann. And the rookie Razaman doing some gymnastic. Razamuth up and over and around and through and...
So we're going to jump back on the replay here. That's Limkeman down on the inside, Rasmus on the outside. They're going to go by. Rasmus has the preferred line. Limkeman just going to wash up a little bit. Soup, you hit the nail on the head. That's a hip check. Whoo! Lucky little pass there from, I think that's Sammy Ryman, to get by him. Very lucky not to get into the back of a flipping Mike Rasmus.
Well, I jinxed it. Not more than 30 seconds after talking about green flag pit stops, we have that. So we got some yellow flag pit stops.
All the leaders looking like they're coming in here. That's Lewis, Blocker, and Carey. Everybody coming in. I'm not seeing anybody out, so I think we're going to be deprived of a fuel strategy race. Nope. To the surprise of nobody, that's Samuel Ryman staying out on the lead lap. That's going to be Ryman and Fowler, the only two not coming in.
That's what Samuel Ryman does. He'll come in and top off right before we go green. Blocker has the second pit stall, one ahead of him, belonging to, well, I'm sorry, Blocker's in the lead pit stall, isn't he? There he goes, rolling out, but Lewis gets the best of him.
He does, and unless I'm mistaken, that looks like it may be another relatively slow stop for Sage Karam, another 39 seconds.
Yep.
So maybe he had a little bit more damage on the car that he needed to get repaired, or we missed something, but that's going to dump him back to about 9th place or so.
Like Sisyphus and high heels, man. He's making his job harder than it needs to be. Keep pushing that boulder, baby. What we'll do right now, we'll take a short commercial break. We'll be back before we go green. Don't go far. Welcome back to the iRacing Esports Network and GSRC's coverage of the DMLC Racing Channel Gateway 200. Boy, that is a mouthful for a race title. Out in front, it is Nathan Lewis. I'd like to say to all of our viewers in Australia, time the kangaroo down, mate. We have a lot of you watching on Facebook. Glad you're here on what I guess would be a Thursday afternoon for you guys. Pace car is in. It's the rookie leading the field this time, Nathan Lewis. Blocker behind. Battle for fifth. Go ahead.
I was just going to say another good start there as we're seeing these leaders not being able to really pull out a gap, but here comes Blocker making a bit of a charge, and Sage Karam already up a spot on Tyler Graff up to 8th place, so the Charger keeps on charging as we go along here tonight.
Our spotlighted driver, Tyler Graff, able to avoid the jinx of the spotlight. Started in 16th, racing now in what would be 9th position.
And there you see Blocker coming down the inside. He's going to take it. Lewis getting pushed out to the outside. Brian Carey there also on the inside. He's going to have a move on Lewis. That's going to push Lewis back. And Joe Hassert and Joshua Chin trying to take a look here as Carey and Lewis going side by side through 1 and 2.
Lewis, very competitive. And again, Carey and Lewis, both of those guys, really, really competitive. The beautiful purple machine of Josh Chin, our top rookie. In the points, racing in 5th, but our top rookie right now is Nathan Lewis on track. Lewis working on the outside. Watch the momentum coming out of 2. He gets the run. Blocker was kind of on the middle line, doesn't get the run. They're going to be Seattle bathtubs now going into 3. Back with butter on his racing gloves is Brian Carey watching from the popcorn position. Carey decides to tuck in there. Boy, they almost just they do touch. And there goes Lewis into the wall. He collects more drivers. Getting part of it was Ron Hacker. Jay Brandt involved in it. The veteran Jake Wright making his 75th start. I believe his night will come to an end.
Oh, Soup, what an absolute schmozzle coming through that main kink there as you see it carry down the inside of Lewis coming out of here. They're just going to wash up a little bit. I hate to say it, that looked like it could have been a little bit of contact there. And everybody behind him just nowhere to go, and that's going to cause a bunch of spinning cars.
Joshua Chin got turned around. I think he's done. Too many cars to name. I'll just see who I can get. I think Ron Hacker might have been able to keep going. Jake Wright involved in it. A crabbing car of Jay Brandt. Get some butter and a hammer for him. Let's ride on board and take a look at this one. Oh.
I think their Soup Jake got hit from the back twice there as that went along. May have been Fowler, not entirely sure who that car was that just tagged up into him a little bit. But he checked up and then got rear-ended and then got rear-ended again. Yep, there you can see it, just that little tick. I think that was, that's Brian Beard. The Beard, it looks like, got tagged by Chin, and then Chin tagged, and then he got tagged into Wright, and just the dominoes kept falling.
Chin getting together seems poetic. Okay. Blocker's fine. He was well out in front of it. Carey is still racing, even though he was part of the initial, he was the big bang of the whole creation of that event. He looks okay. Hassard in 3rd. Karam managed to skate through. Our camp's okay. Our spotlighted driver, my goodness. Tyler Graff still out there. There's Tyler.
Yeah, Graff just working his way nice, 6th place position. Also, Soup, you can see him just coming around the back end of it there. Joshua Chin also able to stay out on track, so not terminal damage for Chin despite getting tagged up in that conflict. I think he may have been able to avoid a lot of the worst of it all. So Chin, another one to look through to charge through the field here.
Anybody who stops now and comes in, even if they can stay on the lead lap, will have to still make another stop. I think we're looking at one more stop from everybody before this is done. All right. Let's look at the onboard camera here for Mark Cohn in the DMLC Racing Channel onboard camera. Of course, Mark Cohn, the watchman, because he collects old watches and fixes them up. He sent me a really nice Casio with a calculator on it. Great, nice watch. I think he has better stuff than that, but I appreciate the sentiment. What other onboard cameras do we have, Director? Let's go to, I think Rigney is done. Director wants to go to Mike Rigney, but we can't. I'm not going to let it go. He wants to go to Rigney. I have a jingle to sing for Mike Rigney, but I can't. All right. We're going to go to Chris Fowler and HyperX. We love HyperX, but they have an onboard camera every week. There's Fowler coming into pit lane, going to try to get a little more work done on that machine. That is a good-looking race car there. Hoisingveld racing machine. That's fast.
It is. I love that scheme. That's another one of the Tyler Graff's specialties there. Really pretty scheme. Obviously, a little reminiscent of good old Connor Daly's scheme there in real life.
Lap number 104. Okay, the lights are off. We are very close to setting a record for most cautions. I don't even want to do the math on that one. Let's just assume we're going to get it in clean from here. One more stop to go. We got ourselves 55 laps to the checkered flag. Blocker out in front. His main competition, Andrew Kinsella, has had problems. Connor Harrington, who sits in fourth in the points, has had problems, but the leader in the points, Sage Karam, still lurking back and forth. There goes Blocker. He's got 5 car lengths. He's got 8 car lengths. Remember that the guy chasing him back in second position is Brian Carey, who had a little contact with Nathan Lewis. So we'll assume that Carey's car is okay. And sure enough, Brian begins to run down Adam Blocker.
Yeah, Soup, as you see just time and time again, no matter how good of a jump you get off the line, it is not enough to help you as Carey's starting to claw back in, bringing Joe Hassert behind him. And that is Sage Karam lurking in the background there in P4. So everybody a little bit more stretched out than we've seen previously on these restarts. But here comes Carey really starting to work it. There you see Karam. You can see him 1, 2, 3, 4 all in a row. That's Hassert jumping out to the outside, trying to get a little bit of a better run off the corner to maybe try to make something happen here down the main straight.
I think Big Joe is going to get this pass made, but again, we see it time and time again. Oh my goodness, he almost gets his right front wing into the rear left tire of Carey, but he does not. When the pass fails, not only do you not get the pass, but you lose momentum and you lose the spot. That happened, and now he falls to fourth, and here comes Sage Karam with some momentum and a draft in front of him. Karam gets credit for second place, but he has nowhere to go.
Boxed in there with Carey down on his inside, but that outside line going to give him the momentum coming out at 2. He's going to get a run on Blocker here. I think he's going to make a look down the inside, try to make a pass into 3.
It took him 108 laps to do it, but out in front, real-world IndyCar driver Sage Karam.
And he's not going to be able to pull away, as we've seen time and time again, but Sage getting back out front, reasserting his dominance on the championship fight here as the top 3 start to go. The one thing to note here is that Brian Carey, despite starting in second, has fallen back to 5th. Stefan Larkamp all the way up to 4th now, starting to make a little charge.
Oh yeah, Carey has really been fighting it. Right now, he's looser than Andy Dufresne at the end of a sewer pipe. Here he comes now. He's trying to get that spot back as he works inside of Larkamp. And a new leader, Adam Blocker to the front. Too much action. Crack him.
I can't figure out where to keep my eyes here, Soup. Is that here you can see Sage gonna let sort of Blocker go by a little bit. I think he knew he had a compromised line through 3 and 4, so he's gonna try to fight him back here. That's Big Joe Hassert lurking in the background. Behind them, you can see the field starting to fan out a little bit. Tyler Graff and Stefan Larkamp thinking about making something happen, but not happening there. Now, Karam's gonna take a wider line coming in, try to get a better run, and it indeed worked as he's gonna get a good ride on Blocker. He may make a move, he may try to wait. Let's see.
Stay in line. Oh, let's quickly go back to 7th position, car number 48, and Aaron Morgan. He almost got into Tyler Graff. Aaron having a great run, up from 31st, now into 7th position. But boy, his night almost came to an end. He's got it gathered up.
Morgan really, he's one of those rookies we talked about early on. He's putting in a great performance. He is our big mover of the race, as you said, up 24 positions. As there you can see Groff and Larkamp continuing their little battle right in front of him. I think that's going to bring Morgan right into the fold here. Morgan going to have the outside line, trying to make something happen, getting a little bit more momentum on Graff. That's not going to happen. But in front of them, Larkamp now able to maybe try to make a run here. Nope, they're just going to go single file back through 1 and 2.
I'm trying to get a feel for drivers that have got to the front just by being smart, and drivers that have actually worked their way up there. I know the Blocker can make a pass. Certainly I've seen Karam. He's probably passed more cars than anybody out there. Joe Hassert, I'm sure he must have passed cars to get to 3rd position, but I just don't remember seeing it. I think he's just kind of stayed out of trouble, and the cars have just left him for those positions. We're going to ride on Jordan with Big Joe. Now, Brian Carey, I've noted how quick he is. He can do something. And then Stefan Larkamp, I think he's just there from positioning himself out of trouble. So we'll see how it plays out.
You know, I have to think with Big Joe Hassert, one of the most experienced drivers that is in Lionheart, that Hassert is maybe just kind of holding back here a little bit, not pushing too hard if he needs to. He may be trying to just maximize tire life, get a little bit more in the end of the run, hoping with this compressed field that they're going to stay green to the end. So that may be what Hassert's trying to do, but we'll have to see as it pans out.
TJ, I think that's a really smart analysis. I think he just might be kind of sandbagging it right now. Like you said, there's no reason. You're not going to go anywhere, and there's no reason to really mix it up. Let's wait till after this final pit stop and race for real when it counts.
Exactly, Soup, and I think the biggest thing to draw to that is you're right, I haven't seen Hassert make a lot of passes, but what I haven't seen Hassert do is fall back at all. And so that, to me, is that big indicator that he's got speed, he's just choosing where he wants to deploy it.
Go to car 07, this is Scotty Johnson. Johnson just made a stab at Aaron Morgan. It didn't work, he's lost a ton of momentum, and now he is in amongst it. That's Brian Yazik on the inside, the car on the outside, the white and black machine, that's Bart Workman. We have not talked a lot about Workman. These guys racing inside, well, trying to get to that 10th position. The car watching on, the watchman Mark Cohn.
And I think that was either Johnson or Yazik there that got a little friendly with the outside wall off of 4, so that'll be something to keep in mind in there. I don't think he had any damage. I can tell you from experience when I was running some laps here that just giving that outside wall a little bit of a love tap isn't going to completely destroy your car on the first or second time.
We look at the front, and they are pretty well behaved right now. They know there's a stop to be made. I think they know they're not going to be able to drive away if they make the pass. Joe Hassert might want to maybe do a little testing of the water to see if he can get the pass made.
He might, and he's got some of the best runs he's had coming off of turn 2. That's a spinner behind. I'm not sure if that's going to bring out the yellow, but somebody hard into the wall. It is indeed, it does.
The nose went away from Cone. It was a nose cone. And he really just pushed right into the wall.
That can happen. We're getting pretty late in the run here, and you can definitely lose it. You can see him doesn't get the right necessarily line there. Yep, just absolutely kerfloof into the wall.
And he, maybe in a merciful thing, his connection blinked away, probably to save him the pain of hitting the wall. Well, our race analysis, they said the max fuel stint was 40. We got 39 to go. I think I know what's going to happen. Everybody's going to come in for fuel, and then we have a 37 lap sprint to the end.
I think that's about right, Soup. And with what we've seen, unless we have sort of the weird one-car spinners, I think we've got a pretty decent shot, knock on every bit of wood that you've got, of running green to the end. So we could be in for a really fun sprint to the finish.
Now, what's interesting is you're going to have a few laps under yellow. You don't need a whole full tank. You may want to go a couple ounces short if you're thinking about a way to get around Adam Blocker. Let's see if
My
anybody
sentiments. My sentiments exactly, Soup.
I mean, worst case scenario is you do short fill and you're not going to have enough and you have to fall back and stay in the draft for a few laps. Let's see if anyone's going to roll and see if they get out there. Now, Blocker first in, first out. Karam, Carey, Hazard, pretty much that's the order they came in at.
Yeah, the only real mover there, Carey, able to get up around Joe Hassert, but we'll have to see if that theory about Hassert kind of holding back and waiting on proves true, as everybody else pretty much just stays in the same line they've been running.
Let's give us an opportunity to give a little love to some of the guys we haven't talked much about. How about car number 92? Chris Sleepy Lanini. I'm telling you, if he could just qualify a little bit better, he was 19th tonight. That's pretty respectful for him. This guy brings the car home at least 10 positions ahead of where he qualifies every race, unless he qualifies in the top 10, where that would be impossible. But you get the idea. Great job from Lanini.
Yeah, he's put in a really, really good race with that black and purple scheme. Sometimes it can frankly get lost in the lights here at Gateway. We talked about those shadows coming in a little bit earlier, but Lanini put it in a good run, as he always seems to do. Very consistent finisher.
You know, you talked about our spotlighted driver and what Tyler Graff can do on the track, and you briefly mentioned it. The Lionheart series might have the best paint schemes of any series we cover on GSRC. They are just stunningly good to look at, and a majority of them are courtesy of Tyler Graff. Some are just jaw-droppingly good looking.
Very much so, and I can tell you, Soup, just seeing the stuff that he is able to turn out time and time again, everything from this sort of, reference schemes like we were talking about earlier with that Connor Daly reference to just utterly original, pretty colors getting put together. Groff is really, really, he's an artist when it comes to putting these schemes together.
And one thing I've noticed from his work as we continue just to pat us back is when you've painted cars a lot and you paint the same type of car, there are certain lines and you kind of get into a rut where the colors need to flow, and that's never the case with him. He always seems to find a unique way to piece the car together. It's really well done. It's, as a commentator, it's fun to watch, and my wife likes him too, because that's the most important thing to her, is how the cars look.
I have a few buddies who are the same way. Whenever we go to the 500, they'll always choose on who has the prettiest car. So at some point, if Tyler Groff ever gets himself out to painting some real Indy cars, I'm sure he'll have some fans in the stands there on the outside of turn 1 where my normal seats are.
Good paint scheme work, a couple of tenths a lap. All right, the pit stops are done. We are good to go. You're watching the iRacing Esports Network, streaming cyberspace into your place, bringing you the Global SimRacing Channel's coverage of the Lionheart IndyCar season number 8, round number 16. And we're going to have ourselves a 35-lap sprint to the finish. All right, buckle in, take that last sip of soda. Well, it's no surprise, it's Blocker and Karam. And I'm telling you right now, DJ, if these two guys get together, I'm canceling my Discord subscription. I just don't want to be there for that.
Yeah, that won't be pretty, but I think these guys just want to put on a good show for us here tonight as you see Sage trying to get that line. He's been running that line a lot tonight, that sort of fade down line. Brian Carey weaving back and forth, trying to figure out which way he wants to go. Sage is going to lead at the line, have that preferred outside line. Going to show Blocker a little bit of his wing and cut him down hard. That's going to force Blocker off and back into a little bit of Brian Carey as Joe Hassert there behind him trying to make a run as well.
Big Joe back and forth. Big Joe, if you're going to show us something, you better start doing it now. And he's listening to me as he tries to work on the outside of Brian Carey. Now here goes Blocker to the inside of Karam. Karam just goes off that corner.
Yeah, Karam just having absolutely none of it, but behind Big Joe Hassert, able to get that momentum to work for him on the outside. He's going to have a run into turn 4, see if he can hold it. I think he's going to run a little bit wide. That's going to let Carey, but Hassert's going to go for the over-under, think better of it, line back in the line, and Stefan Larkamp now starting to take a look at that bright orange car behind him.
Well, you saw 2 different attempts at a pass, one on the inside from Blocker that didn't work, one on the outside from Hassert that didn't work. I don't know how you make the pass. Here come Hassert on the inside. Now he's stuck to the side, but again, he loses momentum, and Carey just kind of powers it around. Let's go up front. Let's see what Karam's going to leave open. Karen says, go down to the inside if you want. You might get your nose into corner number 1 first, but I'm just going to power around the momentum on the outside. And I got to think that that's got to use up a little bit of Blocker's tires to do that time after time.
It certainly will, but at 35, it's not going to be mega wear like we talked about. As there you see Joe Hassert looking like he's finally going to be able to at least get some good momentum. He will not have enough to lead at the line, though, but this is the closest he's been with Carey. We're going to have to see if he can stick it. Nope, looks like he has to back off a little bit. Carey's going to have it there, but Hassert's going to tuck back into the draft, try to make something work. Everybody's snaking down the backstretch, trying to break the draft of the car behind.
But here's what can be learned from that Hassert-Carey battle. Hassert led at the line. He wasn't able to finish the pass, but he was first across the line. Now look what Blocker does. Blocker's going to be a half car lane short at the line. He's going to be first down into the corner number 1. Karam's going to move it around. If Blocker can just get a little better run out of 4, he might be able to steal the race.
He will, but it looks like it's Brian Carey that wants to steal the race, trying to take a look on the inside of Adam Blocker. He's going to be forced to back off a little bit, but Joe Hassert coming around the outside. This may be the move that Hassert needs to get by Carey, as that's Blocker diving down the inside. Hassert going to take the outside. They're going to go Noah's Ark 2x2 into 1.
Guys watching on behind. Larkamp, Morgan, Graff, and Johnson all having good runs as the top 8 have pulled away now. Look at this. Blocker begins to lose momentum, and he's going to lose that position. I think Joe Hassert on the high side. He should have the run off of here. Blocker's been working the inside line for a long time. He's going to be side by side with Hassert as they go into 1. Blocker might be far enough ahead to close Hassert off. Hassert with momentum as he takes it really high. Watch the run out of 2. Boy, he keeps it off the wall, and now he starts to roll. I think he's going to be able to finish the job. Move Big Joe, Mr. Sandbagger, up into 2nd.
And Joe now setting his sights on Sage Karam. You were right there, Soup. That was a super high line from Hassert, but what it allowed him to do was really keep that momentum up and prevent Blocker from coming up on that slide job out of fear of hitting him. So now Hassert's going to set his eyes on Karam, see if he can do something. And I think for Sage Karam, he's just going to want to hug that outside line coming into 1, as that seems to be the fast way to go. Here's the final stages of this race.
Like I'm watching a kung fu movie here. Karam has fought off Blocker, so now somebody else is coming in to make an attack, and it's Joe Hassert. Hassert has watched Blocker try to do this time after time. That's the best I've seen out of there. Oh my goodness, again, Hassert was really loose. He keeps it off of Karam.
I thought for sure there was going to be a bump and rub in there between Hassert and Karam, but both of them just playing it really smart. That's Adam Blocker there in 3rd as they fan out to different lines. Karam tried to block down to that outside line, realized that Hassert wasn't going to go for it, and so stuck it, and now Hassert forcing Karam to run a little bit low. That may give the position here, may give an advantage to Hassert as they come down the backstretch.
You wonder if there's a little desperation to get this pass made, because it's not going to get any easier as the tires get more worn. All right, look at Hassert. doing a little bit of a hokey doke, a little bit of hucklebuck, looking to the outside, now ducking to the inside. Nothing happening there. Blocker walking on, saying, you know, you thought it was easy. It's not as easy as you thought, is it, Big Joe?
No, it's not. But what's interesting there is that Hassert is taking that wider line through 1 and 2, forcing Karam down onto the low side. And Soup, you brought up those tires earlier. That may be what Hassert's banking on here, that running that opposite line is going to hurt him. There you see a crossover line attempted from Hassert. Not going to happen. He's just going to stick up in that draft, running in 5th, so not trying to save any sort of fuel, just going all the way to the floor here. Going to try to get the best run he can coming into 3.
I don't know how the tires hold up, but if there's anywhere at all, you got to think maybe a driver like Brian Carey or even Stefan Larkamp, who is just back there just running a line without working so hard, might have an advantage. Maybe all these guys can team up and make Karam use up his stuff. Karam looks pretty strong, though.
He does. Karam knows exactly where to put that car to benefit him most. As there comes Blocker down the inside of Hassert, but that's not going to be a non-starter there. Hassert Hassert able to get by, forcing Blocker behind him. They're going to come in, and Brian Carey maybe starting to take a little bit of a nod. So interesting how those 3 cars are taking wildly different lines through 3 and 4, but Karam just able to hold the line coming into 1.
Karam protects the inside initially on the straightaway, but then when the time comes to get corner entrance, he dives it back out to the outside. A good run this time for Hassert, but he's going to wait a little bit.
Yeah, he's not going to push his luck there, but he is going to go for the crossover. Oh, I thought he had it there, but not enough. They are going to be so close, 1, 2, 3, but they're going to stay that way coming into 1. Nobody really trying to make the advantage here. About 18 laps to go, so we're starting to get into the pressure cooker here. Everybody going to want to try to make a move as fast as they can.
We need the funk, gotta have the funk. Get that disco ball twirling. It's time to boogie, as my old partner Sean Crackers Ambrose would say. Now working to the inside. He knows when it's time to go dancing. It's Adam Blocker. He works his way up into second again, loses his momentum, and Hassert gets really loose, able to hang on to it on the outside.
Hoi, I'm going to need some Lipitor after this, Soup. This is just an insane race, and my heart rate is going off the charts watching these guys slice and dice back and forth. You can see just how close Hassert is there to the gearbox of Sage Karam. Nothing separating this top 3.
Watching on is Brian Carey, but there's just nowhere for him to do anything. There are some other drivers in the back there. Larkamp, Morgan, Groff. They race 5th, 6th, and 7th. Also in there, Scotty Johnson, Brian Yazik in the tail of this one, Bart Workman, the top 10.
Really just everybody trying to figure out where the fastest run's going to be. And there comes Blocker on the inside of Hassert. He's going to see if he can have him. Hassert going back to that high line. Hassert's going to have the momentum again. That's going to force Blocker backwards, and they're going to stay like that, but that's going to open Blocker up to a move by Brian Carey. Carey's got the advantage going into 3, and he's got the move done.
Yeah, Blocker, that's now he was racing for second, tried to get the lead, didn't work, and he lost the position to Joe Hassert. Tried to get Hassert, lost the position to Carey, and now here comes fresh rubber. Carey gets underneath, and he's finding out the problems that the other guys have been having. You can't get it done on the inside.
No, you can't, and they're carried dangerously close to washing up into Big Joe Hassert, but Hassert once again super close up behind Karam, trying to make something happen. Blocker now trying to take advantage of Carey's little mix-up there, coming off the line. They're going to separate out. There's now a little bit about a two-car length gap between second and third, but that's disappearing now coming into 1.
Karam covering the outside like synthetic lawn. He just will not let Joe Hassert get to the outside. I think he knows that if Hassert can pin him on the inside line, that he might be in trouble. Hassert needs to get a good run here, and then needs to like race through the grandstands.
He very well does, Soup. And you know, I have to think, if I'm Joe Hassert, that there's not a lot of hyper aggression coming from him. We're coming in on 12 laps to go. He may be saving the absolute gutsiest passes he can make until the last maybe 6 or 7 laps. That may be what Hassert's doing here tonight.
Finish the pass. He just needs to lead at the line, and he might be thinking that he can do it. Uh-oh, we got trouble now. There's Hassert around the outside. Carey tried to make a stab at it.
You know, it's funny, Soup. Every time that Carey does that, it seems like Hassard's actually able to gain an advantage on Sage Karam in front of him. So much for doing that. As there comes a really good run for Hassard. He's going to have that inside line. He's going to get closer and closer and closer. Could this be the pass for the lead? No, Karam's going to hold that outside line and Ford Hassard back.
And Hassard didn't turn in early that time. He really took the widest possible line he could without getting into the left side of Karam. It'll be 10 to go as they come under the line this time.
Hassard now a little farther back. I think he's just going to try to wait and see here on this lap, see if he can gain an advantage on the backstretch. Blocker now going to the inside, trying to take a little bit of a different line, get some clean air onto those wings. There goes Karam diving down a little bit, trying to press his advantage, hold that inside line. Hassard going a little bit higher. He's going to take a sloping line into 3 and 4, try to get a little bit of a crossover on Karam, seeing what he can make do here.
That was a different line through 4 that time. You nailed it. Wasn't effective. Look at him now trying to stay wide. He drops back to see if he can get a good run out of 2. I think he's lost too much ground. He's trying anything he can think of to get around the Wix car of Sage Karam.
He really is, and you just see that absolute experimentation, trying any and everything he can do, but all of that experimentation has let Adam Blocker close in a little bit behind him. So we're going to have to see what Blocker can do, but they're going to say single file coming through 1 and 2, but only with about 6 or 7 laps to go. This is where it's crunch time for Hassard and Blocker.
I think Hassard trying to time it as he is about 2 car lengths back. Now he's about a half car length back, trying to get a good run right out of 4 so he can make the run here. Didn't quite have it that time. Is going to be able to make no attack on Karam.
Nothing at all. Let's watch the lines through 1 and 2. Hassard staying high. Karam being able to take that sort of sweeping, almost that sweeping line through 1 and 2 gets him some good speed, but Hassard now able to close up through 3 and 4, trying to find the right line here. 6 to go with the line. They've got a little bit of a gap back to Adam Blocker. Hassard's going to tuck up in the draft. At least he's going to try to. Nope, he's going to think about it here, so nothing happening on this lap. Let's see what we can do on the next one.
Racing this close to Karam, though, makes Karam race perfect. One little mistake from Stage, and Hassard will be there to capitalize. Although if your strategy is to hope that Karam makes a mistake, you might want to think of a different strategy.
Sage Karam. Yeah, very good one, but also a good one from Adam Blocker is I think Hassard's going to be looking in his rearview mirror as well to make sure nothing happens there. Going to take that high line again, trying not to push. He's going to try to build the momentum coming down the backstretch and try to get a run here, but he's running out of time to make this move happen.
Before the go as they come under the flag this time. As far as big pictures goes, it's not going to be that traumatic. Blocker should get a good share of points. Of course, Karam will get the lion's share by picking up the win, but the championship battle will continue on. Into 3.
Into 3 they go. Blocker taking a little bit of a lower line. Got a good close up to Hassard there. I think this may be a chance for Blocker to try to make a move here. Nope, he's going to be too far back, and it just looks like Big Joe Hassard doesn't have the momentum to be able to get by Sage at this point. He's got to keep pushing. We're going to go on board with Joe as you see him here coming into 3.
The moves that we saw about 15 to 20 laps ago just aren't happening right now, as this car will not stick down low. This is a great run from Hassard. He tries his best to get to the outside, but he needed the car to be about 10 inches skinnier. It wouldn't fit. 2 to go.
He got close there, and he's going to maybe try to get just as close as there's a little bit of a wiggle from Sage there coming off of turn 2. They're going to dive into turn 3 with Hassard keeping up that pressure. It's going to be 1 to go at the line for Hassard. He's only got 2 more corners to make this move happen.
All right, again, Sage moves to the outside to protect that line. The inside is open. Now here comes Blocker. Blocker looking to pick up points. He's going to lose momentum. That won't work. They're down the back straight. Into the wall is Hassard, but he keeps it going. Don't know if he got it all, but he's keep going straight. He's got a half car length back. If he's got something, he's got to show it now. Karam making that car as wide as a Julia Roberts smile. Sage Karam gets the win.
And Adam Blocker so close there on pipping second place from Joe Hassert. Really amazing run to the end there. And Brian Carey doing an incredible job to bring the car home in fourth place.
Indeed, the DMLC Racing Channel Gateway 200 goes to Sage Karam. He's awesome on a twisty circuit, but he can win on the ovals as well. The racing is over, but our broadcast is not. We're going to take a short break. We'll come back, run down the entire finishing order that saw 16 drivers finish on the lead lap, talk to some of those drivers before we put a lock on the gate. Don't go far. Welcome back to the DMLC Racing Channel Gateway 200 and the HyperX post-race show. The Lionheart Racing Series is powered by HyperX. When you're trying to claw your way to the top of the podium, it pays to have an ultra-comfortable, high-quality headset that gives you the audio information you need to grab that checkered flag. From high-performance drams and SSDs, outstanding microphone, accurate mice, responsive keyboards, to their legendary cloud line of gaming headsets, HyperX makes the gaming gear you need to succeed. Casual or pro, no matter your creed, color, or culture, we're all gamers, and HyperX is always ready to game. Use promo code LionHRT15 at hyperxgaming.com. And now here's the turn racing finishing order. Man, talk about clawing your way to the top spot. That is Sage Karam, who had to go through the field from 18th position, then got set back about to 12th, did it again, set back to about 13th after some bad pit stops, did it again, and he gets the win. Not only that, he must have passed about 70 cars to get it done. Joe Hassert, try as he might, could not get around Karam. He'll have to settle for second. Adam Blocker will still get a pretty good point stay and stay in the point championship as he finishes in third. Brian Carey was quick all night. got into a little bit of trouble there with Nathan Lewis, but everything worked out okay for Carey. He's going to come home fourth. Stefan Larkamp in fifth. The back half of your top 10 are spotlighted driver Tyler Graff, Aaron Morgan, a quiet seventh place from him. Likewise for Scotty Johnson, who was in eighth. Brian Yazig was ninth. Rounding out your top 10, another driver under the radar, Bart Workman. DJ?
Sammy Ryman bringing the car home in 11th, followed by Brandon Limkeman and Chris Lanini in 13th. Chris Fowler in 14th, and Joshua Chin surviving that wreck to bring the car home 15th. Ron Hacker, the last of our running cars, coming home in 16th, followed by Mark Cohn, Jay Brandt, Jake Wright, and Brian Beard, all non-finishers here tonight.
And the non-finishers continue with Nathan Lewis, Mike Rasmus, Tony Schowen. Brian, it's not easy being Greenlee. Boy, we saw a lot of these guys have tumbling accidents. Andrew Kinsella, bad points day from him, unless he would drop races too. Ken Hacker, Scotty Holmes, Jason Galvin. I'll just run these out here. Connor Harrington, the Candyman Dustin Wardle got into trouble early. Adam Frazier, rookie Matt Taylor, Christopher, and Mike Rigney. We didn't get to see much of him. All right. I've done this before. It's always a pleasure when I get to talk to the race winner, especially when it's Sage Karam. Sage, congratulations. Man, it's always tough to win these things, but you really had to work at this one. You must have passed 70 cars tonight.
Dude, holy cow. I don't really know what to say. I mean, I ran out of fuel in qualifying on the last lap, and I just fuel burned too much. So then I knew I was in a position I didn't want to be in. Came up through the field, and then I don't even remember what happened, but I somehow, there was like a spin in front of me or something, and I got front wing damage or something, and I had to get a front wing change. So I went back through the field again, and then got another front wing change. I mean, it was just like, it was crazy. I mean, it was like a big pack race on a short oval. I never experienced anything like that. That was such a cool race, and yeah, I mean, I just knew towards the end there, I mean, I was working the bars on every single lap, every corner. You know, I was going down to 1 going into turn 1, back up to 3 on turn 3, and I would do that every single lap. Knew I couldn't give up the inside in 3, knew I couldn't give up the outside in 1, and just like, I don't know, man, that was freaking awesome.
It was really fun. And you know what was fun to watch Joe Hassard race you clean? He was trying everything he could to get around you, but is it harder at the end there when the tires are not quite as friendly?
Yeah, I knew, you know, about 10 laps after we got going from the restart that, you know, his tires were going to be hurting. I mean, everybody's tires were going to be a little bit hurting. So holding the inside going into 1 was going to be a bit of a challenge. So I just knew if I just kept him pinned down on the bottom, he wouldn't be able to get the run. So basically, it was just a focus of just like hitting my line every single lap, and you know, was able to do that and not give up the inside of 3, because the inside of 3 had a lot of grip. So, you know, I was trying to break the drafts down the straightaway, keep my advantage going into 3, going into 1. But man, I can't believe it. I came into this race just hoping that I could just stay with Adam. You know, I didn't do any of the practice races or whatever. I, you know, had some stuff going on with real racing, just like meeting with my manager and stuff. So I was just like hoping I could just hang with these guys. These guys were really, really good. And then I found myself in a position to win. And, you know, I've had such bad luck on ovals. So, like, anytime I can win on an oval on iRacing is, like, literally the most amazing feeling in the world.
Indeed it is. Congratulations on the win, and going to get a little bit of breathing room in the points. We'll see you down the road.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Sage Karam, who managed to get himself into victory lane. Now, if you want to get into victory lane and celebrate like he is going to be able to do, what you need is a Sim Experience. To get to Sim Experience victory lane, to help you do that, check out Sim Experience AccuForce steering system. It has the most advanced tuning feature on the market. The AccuForce Direct Drive is second only to the Real Thing. So check out the entire Sim Experience line of products at simexperience.com. DJ, who you got?
I've got our second place finisher, Joe Hassert. Joe, you kind of ran a quiet race there for a while and then gave Sage a heck of a run at the end. How was it out there?
It was pretty good. We had the car tuned in. I'm happy to just finish one. I don't think I've actually taken a checkered flag since May, so it's been a rough year. I thought I had a shot as one of those, 2 to go, and I thought Sage gave me the outside. In fact, my spotlights from Midwest Simulations were red. So that's how close it was. And I was just trying to get runs off of 3 and 4. I scraped the wall on the final lap coming out of 2, and I think that made me push a little coming to the checker. But I kind of slinkied up and down the top 10 all night, and it was a good run, good solid run the whole night.
It was, and it was an incredible thing to see. Were you having any trouble with tires there at the end? We were kind of speculating if you were holding them onto it.
Yeah, it was super tight. When we were running up front there and towards the end, there were less cars. I think there were less cars in that high line where if you miss your marks and kind of got in the marbles, it really didn't want to turn. But I was definitely playing with car controls a lot, trying to figure out where I had it, and I thought I had it dialed in for the last couple laps, and then for some reason I was tight and 1 and 2 on the white, and just came out of there a little bit high, and I think that cost me because I think I was getting pretty good runs on him coming out of 4.
Yeah, you were. I mean, we were screaming and hollering, hoping that you had it, and really putting on a good show. And it's really good to see you back up at the pointy end of the grid.
Yeah, definitely. Only couple more races to go this year, so hopefully I get a couple more good finishes, and hope to talk to you guys again.
We hope so too, Joe. Thanks so much. And Soup, I think you are with our third place finisher, Adam Blocker.
I do. I have Adam. Try as you might, you just couldn't get the win there, Adam. Then every time you try to make a pass, you lose momentum and lose another spot.
Yeah, it was a really tough situation there at the end. I think it was possible to make the move from second, but I mean, I would have done the same thing if I was in Joe's position and just waited until maybe 2 to go, 1 to go, 3 to go, something like that, and then tried it. I'm surprised he really didn't give it a good go down the inside, but yeah, I tried a few times because that was the only move I really had. But then once Brian tried and failed, and I got back to third, I was like, I just got to wait for Joe to try something, and then maybe try to make it 3 wide or get back to second or something. But yeah.
Well, when you look at it this way, you put a silver lining on the cloud. You didn't get the win. You lose a few points to Karam, but you're close enough in points that you're still in the hunt. So we got a long way to go.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I was just trying to be conservative tonight and survive, and not many people did survive, unfortunately. But yeah, it was really just cautious all night, tried to stay out of trouble, and that worked. So I'll take third here. If I finish third every race, I have a good chance of winning the title. So yep, definitely looking forward to the last race of the season.
3-3-3-3, probably get to the crown. Good luck. We'll see you down the road.
Yep, see ya.
All right, DJ, you get the most fun interview here. You're going to get to talk to Brian Carey.
Brian, that was a heck of a race for you, really sticking your nose up there with the guys at the front. You were in the thick of it the entire race. Just wonderful to see you up there.
Yeah, thanks, DJ. Oh man, that was I've had such a bad run recently that I am both super pumped for fourth and super disappointed because I could taste it, I could see it. I was coming up on the inside of Joe there. I got by Adam for a bit. I'm like, all right, I could see dollar signs on the inside of Sage, and there's no way I could hold the low line in 1 and 2. So I think fourth was the best I could do today.
Yeah, it really looked like as the race was going along that low line, unless you threw almost like a slide job, that you just could not get a pass made down there.
Yeah, it's funny because just the way we had the car set up today, there was a lot of downforce on the grip. It really raced well, but I mean, I haven't done a lot of races here. It's just the experience of watching the guys on TV and the real life guys race it so much differently. Where you could send one up the inside, but if you're behind someone, you could probably send it up the inside and make it stick. But being the third or fourth guy in line, it was so hard to keep it down there because the high line, the run you could get off there was just so big that you could just put your car on the outside and the guy on the inside you have to back off.
Yeah, I mean, this has got to be a good result for you. Only a couple of races left to go in the season. How do you feel about it going forward with this to buoy you up?
Well, I mean, I've got Road America and Mosport are 2 of my favorite tracks. I'm really looking forward to going there. California is probably my favorite oval as well. So 3 of the 4 remaining. I think we have 4 left. There's only 3 left. Those are the ones. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I feel like I've underachieved a lot this year. Felt bad for Andrew and Joe. The Adrenaline Red guys were still up near the front of the team championship. No help from me, so I feel like I can start earning my pay these last few races.
Well, we'll be excited to see you, Brian, and we'll certainly be looking out for you if those are 3 of your favorite tracks.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Thanks,
Okay.
Brian.
Okay, let's wrap this up. I got a DVR with the World Series and Big Brother recorded on it. Which one am I going to watch first? I'm not going to tell you. Let's go ahead and thank the people that make this possible. How about First Medical Equipment? They've been the source of medical supplies and equipment in the Burlington, Iowa area for years because of their superior commitment to provide the absolute best in product quality and customer service. HyperX, whatever you play, however you play, HyperX knows we're all gamers. Use promo code LionHRT15 at hyperxgaming.com. Sim experience, second only to the real thing. Butt Kicker, bring more realism and immersion to your session. Use promo code LION2020 at thebuttkicker.com. My neighbor Art swears by it. To contact any of the sponsors you see on screen, just go to LionheartRacingSeries.com. The original music for every GSR broadcast from courtesy of June Lalonde. See the screen for contact information. On screen now are some of the company's equipment and software that made this broadcast possible. The Lionheart IndyCar Series returns in 2 weeks. That's November 4th for the Patrick Taylor Memorial Grand Prix at Mosport. You won't want to miss that. If you'd like more information about GSRC, including a complete list of future broadcasts, you can find it at GlobalSimRacingChannel.com. We're also on Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, Twitter at GSR Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. If you're not already a GSRC YouTube subscriber, head over to our GSRC YouTube page and hit that big red button right now to subscribe. If you're looking for a unique gift, go check out GSRC merchandise store at gsrc.storenvy.com. Sadly, the Joe Peak Halloween masks are sold out, but you'll find something you like. Finally, on behalf of the entire crew, that would be DJ, Sean, and Doug, I'd like to thank all of you for watching, as it was indeed Sage Karen picking up another win, increasing his points lead here in the DMLC Racing Channel Gateway 200. With that said, we're off to have fun, storm of the castle. So until next time, peace, good health, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.